Hi.
Hi.
Do you like my jacket?
I love it. I didn't wear mine because you were going to wear yours. And I was like, I'm not going to copy her.
It says Zero Sparkle Club because that's what club I'm in.
Turn around. Show them your back, please. Let me tell them. It says, baddies grow miracles. And it is so stinking cool.
And
I was so
baddie.
Excited. You're a baddie. That
but
grows
I don't
miracles.
Be growing any more miracles.
Well, you're retired. You're retired, Patty. That grows miracles.
I'm so excited for today's podcast because it's been a really long time coming.
I know. Like a year, Sam said that we've been trying to make this happen.
Yes.
She's
a busy lady. Busy doing really incredible things. So I'm glad that we were able to finally pin her down for an hour.
And her name is so cool. And you guys will tell you why it's so cool, because there is a reason why it's so cool, but it is a cool name, Regina. And I was following her on Instagram. I went in and clicked the follow. Was really proud of myself for doing that, by the way. And was reading some of the stuff that she has. I'm like, gosh, she is so inspiring. And the things that she's doing, it makes me realize I'm not doing a whole lot and I need to do more.
Yes, you are. And you know what? I feel like she wouldn't appreciate you saying that, because that's one of our things, is that inner monologue that tells us that we're not doing enough and what we're doing doesn't matter. And it's just not true. There's so much work to do in the fertility space and for women and women's health. And then especially, boiling it down even further for women of color. And there's just an endless amount of work to be done. So it's good that there are Regina Townsends in the world and Casey Bajorquez's.
Okay.
And I don't know.
And Sunshine Hanson's.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. I'm excited.
Somebody's got to take all the naps.
Yeah.
That's my job.
And create some really cute content every time you get on and do another video. And I'm like, oh my God, how did she make that look and feel so natural and beautiful and just clear?
It's because I have a big mouth and I have a lot to say and I can't shut up.
I like it. So we have the broken brown egg, Regina, coming in to talk about all the things that she's doing and the movement she's making in this industry as far as bringing awareness. So it's really powerful.
Yeah. I'm very excited for everyone to meet her and hear about the Mosaic Ball and make sense, all the things that she's created and all the things she will create in the future as time goes on. I just love it when people are so generous with their journeys, and when they have something that's been hard, that they figure out a way to make something easier for someone else. It's pretty cool.
It really
people
is.
Are neat. Sometimes I get discouraged because I think people all kind of generally suck, but they don't. It's not true.
They don't.
There's lots of good ones.
There is. And then hearing everybody's story, it just makes you realize that we're all the same. We're just a little different. We have different stories.
Get by.
Yeah. So let's bring her in. Let's do this. Before we get started, I have to say, Regina, Sunshine's going to start smiling when I say this. Your name has so much meaning for us and our organization, because when we first got started, we needed to test out and have like a dummy case, like a case that we needed to name. Instead of it saying test, we would say Regina George. It was our fun thing to do. And so when I saw your name was Regina, I was like, I love her name so much.
Somebody I think I was at Culver's. I don't know what fast food place I was at that I shouldn't have been in. But the girl in the drive-thru, she was like, oh, Regina, like Regina George, like Mean Girls. And I was like, oh, you're an infant. That's adorable.
I don't know how we ended up with Regina George as a random test subject.
Because she was mean and we needed her to say silly things that were like, no, Regina, you're DQ'd and you don't. So now we have a whole bunch, and it's so funny because we've created our entire journey management system, and we have a whole bunch of test cases, and they all are different faces of Regina George, and they have her name, Regina George, this, Regina George, that.
With
So
all of her
anyways.
different moods.
Yes, yeah. So
On Wednesdays,
the
we
name
were
is dear to our heart.
We need to bring all the other girls in too, like Gretchen and Gretchen Wieners, and yeah.
All of
She doesn't
them,
even
all of
go here. Like, just slowly add the mean girls.
Oh, so good.
We've been looking forward to this podcast for a long time. I know we've been trying to schedule this, and we've been learning about your organization and the Mosaic Ball and all these different things that you're part of. So we're really excited to finally be meeting you.
We're here. We're doing it.
It has been a week too, so this is going to be a nice change for the week. This will be a nice positive. We had somebody today call the library with an attitude about what time our story times are. So this is going to be a different.
Who calls a library with an attitude?
Oh
know.
my gosh. You would be
What?
surprised.
Okay,
She was like,
well.
you guys open at 10. Why didn't you just do story time at 10? Because we just got here.
Because
Give
we're
us a
finishing our
minute.
coffee.
We're finishing. Listen, mine is cold right now because I didn't finish it.
You got to get one of those mug warmers that is always hot. I've been wanting to get one of those for Christmas, Casey. That's on my Christmas list.
I have one at home, and I need to stop lying to myself and just bring it here because I never even drink my coffee at home.
Yeah.
I've learned.
Okay, wait, you said 10 o'clock there. So where are you calling from? Where are you joining us from?
Just outside Chicago.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, we are so excited, and we have all the questions, but let's start off by an introduction. Sunshine, I'll let you do it because you're better at it.
Oh, no, I'm not. It's really just you, Regina. Tell us about who you are. Tell us about your background, your fertility journey, what led you here, and what inspired you to create the Broken Brown Egg.
Oh, sure. So as you can see, I'm a librarian. So that's one part of it. I was a school librarian first, and then I was a public teen librarian for about 10 years, and now I'm head of youth services in another suburban library.
Wow.
But in the middle of all of that, when I first started as a school librarian, I was in the thick of trying to figure out what the heck was wrong with my period because it would just last forever and ever. And so I would be coming to work at 7 a.m. after having been in the ER the night before, or after, if we had a boss that was like big on if we were substitute teaching or just teaching a class, we were supposed to be standing for most of the time. And I had to level with her hey girl, so I've been on my period for 40 days and 40 nights. We're not doing this standing up. We're not doing that. And the more frustrated I was getting about my period, I was like, nobody's telling me anything other than lose weight and take thyroid meds. And so I asked my husband, I was like, we've been trying for, or not trying for about a year now. And I wonder if there are other people like us that are dealing with something similar. What if I turn my blog, where I've been talking about this, into an actual nonprofit? Mm-hmm. And he was like, I think that's a great idea. And it was coming up on our 5th wedding anniversary. So that was our gift. That was what I did for our 5th wedding anniversary, was start the Broken Brown Egg. And
wow.
The more that I started talking about it, the more people started messaging me going, thank you for saying that, because I couldn't mention that to anybody, or I didn't know that Black women dealt with this, or you mean this is not normal? That pain that I feel that makes it hard for me to leave my house, that's not normal? I thought everybody dealt with that. And it just kind of grew from there. I just realized that the biggest thing was not that we weren't dealing with it. It was that we weren't talking about it. And the mainstream conversation didn't include us because the stereotype was that Black women's bodies need to be policed because we have too many children and we are not able to take care of the ones that we have. And we can't afford IVF or surrogacy or anything like that. And that did not reflect the people that I was talking to. And so I realized that somebody needed to be the one to keep talking about it. And I've been a big mouth since
I love that.
the very beginning. So I just couldn't stop myself. And over the years, I've learned to like, it's a part of everything that I do. I mean, here at the library, I have staff here who, if they come in and they were, dealing with health stuff, I'd be like, what's going on? Let me tell you what I do outside of this. What you need to know. What are we talking about? Where are we going? Let me give you my gynecologist number. Let me tell you what you should do. And even with books for the teens, I've made sure that our books have information about PCOS and endometriosis and all the things that I wish I had known in high school when I was being told don't get pregnant.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of grown from there. And I've learned over this time that most of us have an advocate in us. We just don't realize that what we're dealing with, we're not the only ones dealing with it. But once you get that inclination and you start talking, you kind of can't shut up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great.
It's called that passion, that fire.
That filter just goes away because you're like, no, I have to say. Yeah. So it's been that since. And my son is 9, going on 35. And he knows what the broken brown egg is. And he asks questions now. And even now with the younger kids that I serve, I try to make sure that we have picture books here that are about children that are born of surrogacy, children that are born of IVF, children that are adopted, foster care, because even in those ages, they want to understand or at least have a reflection. And so that's been kind of the cornerstone of what I do, is bridging the gap between patients and everyday people and the organizations, the rule makers, these clinics, and just kind of putting it in regular terms and being a reflection that can say, yeah, this does suck, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. Let's go get some wine.
Let's get a drink.
Children. No, not the children. No. That's a really good point. And about representation for all the different types of families and all the different types of struggles that there are. And I think for the broken brown egg, especially, you're talking about the representation for Black women that struggle with infertility, and children who are adopted and children who are born through surrogacy or through IVF, and having all those things reflected back in the literature that they're reading is so important. Why do you think it's so important for that representation to exist? I think a lot of people think it's maybe gimmicky to have that representation, but this is your jam, your bread and butter, being a librarian. That's about the connection and empathy. And if you want to talk about that, why that representation is so important.
Absolutely. That's my preferred soapbox. So we actually, in the library world, we have a statement that's been kind of going out, and it's like, representation matters. It's a simple thing, but we also talk about being windows and mirrors. You want kids to be able to look through the window at someone else's life and be empathetic to that. And you also want them to be able to look into a mirror and see, oh, I'm okay. I'm okay to be here because look, there's another person like me, or there's somebody who likes what I like. And I think that in this space, what I was struggling with most of all when I was first not even diagnosed with infertility, but just wondering why nothing was working and why my periods were lasting so long, I just started looking around my neighborhood, and I was just like, there's nothing in my neighborhood that says this is something that we need. So maybe it's something wrong with me that we don't need. If I need it, there's something wrong with me. Nobody else seems to need this. But if I go to another neighborhood, I see so many different options for how they want their life to be. So they get to have that. I don't. And so when I think about representation, I think about, those unsaid barriers and gates that we have up, rather than those windows and mirrors. And what that says to people indirectly is kind of that if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it kind of thing. And when I'm talking to people and I'm saying, oh, this is affordable, or, your insurance covers this, or anything like that, they're like, wait, it does? Yeah. Because just based off of what they don't see, they think it doesn't apply to them and it won't apply to them, and it's already out of reach. And so being someone who can at least visibly show, oh, I've done that, or I know where to find the information on that, or I can help you. Sometimes that in and of itself takes the weight off of people so they don't feel so much like
they're doing this alone.
Yeah, you're by yourself. You're an anomaly inside of an anomaly.
Yeah.
There's nobody you can talk to. And so it's been a cornerstone of what I do, is to try to like make it clear that those things that we think are just us, there's not just us.
No.
And you won't know that if you don't have any representation. You won't believe that. You will continue to perpetuate the myths and stereotypes that have bound you thus far. So it's...
Or if you think that the solutions are out there, but they're out there for other people and they're not out there for you.
Yeah.
They're not accessible.
It starts with that storytelling. What I'm realizing is, as quickly as we find our courage or our voice to start telling stories, you realize you're not alone. And then those people who take those first steps to ask those questions, to talk with their doctor, to understand, oh, this is covered by my insurance. Then you have that voice and that courage to say, I'm going to tell every single person that will listen, and start to even pry a little bit, not in an inappropriate way, but like you have that friend who you know they've been trying, but now it's a year, maybe it's longer. Now you could start to lean in and have those conversations. I think that's the most empowering thing, is when you feel like you're not alone and that there is a route that's going to get you there. You just have to start asking those questions.
Your spidey senses start tingling.
Oh my gosh,
you start to kind of, you can pick up on the words that aren't said.
Yes.
You can pick up on the nuance of just how they're carrying themselves sometimes. And you're like,
I got you, girl. Let me talk. Let's talk about that.
Have a conversation with you real quick. Do you know about this thing? You know, just in passing. And I've had so many people who've like have felt like you can visibly see the weight lifted. At my former job, we had social work interns, and one of the social work interns was working the desk with me, and she was saying she was going to be out for a couple of days, but she didn't want to be an inconvenience. And I was like, oh, I hope everything's okay. And she was like, I'm going to be doing IVF. And I was like, oh, I did IVF. And like I said it, and she was like,
you did? Tell me more.
Yeah, you could see that she was like, oh, okay, cool. Let me tell you what's going on with me. Because it's even in that, the workplace has these nuanced, unspoken things of like, that's not something that you talk about at work. And that's not, but it is. Because when your boss is deciding whether or not your workplace offers certain things in the insurance package, they need to know that there's somebody in there that
who wants that benefit.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people who find out that their job doesn't offer it because the powers that be assumed, well, nobody needs it here. In Illinois, where it's mandated, there's loopholes that they can get around. If it's like, well, we only have this many people who work here, so we didn't need it, or nobody's requested it, so we didn't have to. So it's like you have to be willing to at least be honest with yourself. And if you can't be the one to speak out because you're struggling with it, it is a personal and private journey. We know that it's a painful one. But if you can't speak for yourself, you have to at least be honest with yourself so that you take the step to find who is speaking and be able to support them, however that is, even if it's just sharing or sending them a note that says, keep up the good work or whatever, because it's hard to be an advocate too, because we're usually dealing with what we're advocating for.
And then knowing the right words, because that's the other thing. I had a friend recently who was, I would say, closeted in the fact that she was struggling with this and refused to say anything because she felt such shame in it. And then finally, when she was able to let her guard down with me, it was hard realizing that even her doctor, who had known this, she had shared this with her doctor, wasn't giving her any tools to say, okay, I want you to do this and I want you to do this. And then here's all the resources that are available because you have insurance that says this. So I finally said to her, I said, your doctor's not advocating for you. It's time to cut the ties and go find a new doctor. We're done.
Yeah, we out.
We don't have time for this. Exactly.
Because it's a time game.
Yeah, because it is a time game. So how do you advocate for those women? And like, what are all of your outreaches? What does that look like as far as what are the things that you focus on your platform?
I think the biggest thing, one of them is that sometimes people don't know what they don't know. I know for me, myself, it was hard for me to even learn that I could say to a doctor, I disagree,
Mm.
or
Mm.
is that what you're doing because of my chart, or is that what you do for everyone's chart?
Mm.
Can you please note that in my chart that you said no to this test or this procedure because I was curious about it, and I would like that written down that I said the opposite of
Yes.
you. Like, I didn't know any of that. And that was just in me trying to get a PCOS diagnosis, because I was like, something's got to give here. Somebody got to explain something. And when I had gone to the doctor and said I thought I had PCOS on the advice of an RE who had reached out to me because of my blog, and my doctor was like, it's not that. And I was just like, okay. And I left and I felt so dejected. But when I had to call back, she wasn't available on the day that I was. And I was like, hey, is there anybody else I can see? And when I did that, it was like a light bulb was like, oh, you don't have to have the same.
No.
You don't have to stick with it. And screw their feelings.
Yes.
Like, I don't care about her feelings. This ain't got nothing to do with her. This is my life. And if I did feel that there was something wrong, that I could call back and say, let me speak to her. Like, all of those freedoms, I didn't know. And so sometimes it's just that, telling people that you can say to your doctor, I disagree, or slow down. You said a lot of stuff real quick when you came in here. And after I was in the waiting room for 45 minutes, you're going to give me 15
time. Yes.
so that I can understand what you're saying to me, or to bring a friend with you to the doctor. One of the things I tell people is bring a pen, a pad, and a plan. Every appointment, every time. And not just for this. This has taught me to be an advocate for my dentist when I go to any doctor or any place where there's this hierarchical, where you feel like they're in a position of power over your body that you're living in.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that, and that's what I try to pass on. Is like, you can ask this. Have you told them that? That was racist. This was a microaggression. That's not something that we should allow. Did you get their phone number? Did you know you could call the hospital and speak to an administrator? Did you, like, those kind of things?
That's powerful stuff.
Yes, it is.
People
Yes, it
don't
is.
realize it. They think the doctor is the person who went to medical school, so they're in charge. And it's like, they're not.
No, they
They're
work
also
for
human
you.
too.
Performing
Like,
a
they're
service.
Yeah.
They're performing a service. If it was your car and you went in and they were talking down to you and making you feel stupid and telling you don't know anything about cars and then charging you up the wazoo, you would be like, you know what? I'm towing my car to another mechanic because I don't appreciate how I'm being treated, and I'm not going to spend my money here. Guess what? Your
Same
insurance
thing.
is your money.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
Yes,
spending
ma'am.
your money. So
They
your
work
body is
for
the
you.
biggest machine you got.
Yeah.
This is the biggest machine you got, and you only get one. Something happened to your car, you can get another one. That's all I got.
Yeah.
So this is the most precious piece of equipment that I own. And if I don't like how I'm being treated, we moving around. And I think a lot of times people didn't tell us that when we were younger. And then specifically speaking in terms of women of color and people of color in general, we've had so many historic issues of medical mistrust where we've been experimented on, taken advantage of. The Tuskegee syphilis study and Henrietta Lacks, all of these things that have happened have made it so that we're very hesitant to, number one, go to the doctor. But when we do go, it's a them versus us. And you tell me what you need to tell me, and I'm going to tell you what I need to tell you so that I can get out of here and we don't need to see each other for like a year. And you're supposed to be able to build a team that you trust, that you can trust enough to tell them the truth so they can help you.
Yeah.
And that's what the barrier I've been trying to break down for women of color is. I understand historically that we have valid reasons to mistrust them, but we can fix it. We can
And you
work
still have a
towards it.
right to have
Yes.
medical care, and
Yes.
you have to fight for it.
You have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah.
What are some of the harmful stereotypes you think that do still exist about Black women and fertility that women are up against when they go and see their doctors, especially women of color?
I think the biggest one is just that we don't deserve the treatment or the care, that we're not responsible enough or intelligent enough to be in charge of a body. That our bodies need to be policed because we aren't going to make right decisions. We aren't going to make good choices. When we look at basic things about healthcare and Black women, if you look at just how some doctors are charting things, it's a very big difference between a white woman's chart that may say, patient opted out of XYZ. Where if you look at a person of color's chart, it'll say, person resisted care, drug-seeking behaviors, those kind of things. There is
Like if you're in pain, then you're seeking drugs.
You're seeking drugs. There's history of the medical community being taught that Black people experience pain at a different rate. And so if we come in and we're saying we're in pain, you're just seeking drugs because you don't experience pain the same way. So why do you need it? And that's from years and years back. If we look at J. Marion Sims, who's thought of as the father of gynecology, he received a lot of his accolade after experimenting on enslaved Black women without anesthesia. And his thought process was they don't experience pain, so they're fine while I'm doing these horrendous procedures on them, and they don't need any medication. And his tenure, eventually he became like the president of the American Medical Association. So if from the very top of the way our medical system has been, running, from the very top, they've been believing this about us, then it's no wonder that when we are coming into the doctor's offices, there's an assumption about us. The other thing is, traditionally, if you look at the history of specifically Black women in this country, we were cattle. We were the machinery. And so to live on a plantation or some other place where you were enslaved, and you are being judged and rated by how many children you have, by how virile you are, then after slavery is abolished, well, now I'm going to let you work on this land. But if for any reason you go into debt because you don't get me the crops that I need, I can kick you off your land. Well, now I need to have a lot of kids because I need a family that can help run this land so that we can have a place to stay. But then during the Great Migration, you come up to these cities where there's not any space for 8, 10 kids, and there's no access to preventative medicine in terms of birth control and things like that. And so now the stereotype is, look at them. Look at how many kids they have. They're in a 2-bedroom apartment. Look at it's 8 kids. They don't even know how to stop. They're just always having babies. But there's no context for any of it. There's also, and I talk about it in my book, but there's also history of, the myth of the welfare queen, and that she's just having all these babies so she can collect welfare. When people have refuted that and found that actually there were less Black women on assistance than white women. But it was the construct that we are the ones that are put the drain on society and we're not making good choices. And so when you take all of that, and I know it's a lot, but when you take all of that and then you say, well, what about the ones who want to get pregnant? There's this bell that goes off of like, they don't need help with that. They actually need the opposite. So we're not going to put that in their neighborhood because they don't need it. We're not going to, make this something that is accessible to all because we want to also be able to say who deserves a family and who doesn't, who can afford a family and who can't. So it's so many layers to it. And what I've learned over the years from even just studying for myself is that when we're dealing with it, we don't always have the words for it. We just know something just feels gross. And I don't know why, but so instead I'm just not even going to look into that because something just feels. And eventually I started to be able to piece together from the history and as things, oh, that's why that feels gross, because it is. And that's why I should say something, because somebody got to.
Yeah.
And it just kind of has gone from
because
there.
people are carrying around these old beliefs and systems and not even realizing that they're there. They're just in the background.
Yeah,
it's heavy.
The body keeps the score.
Yeah. What you have this beautiful platform and you are making a difference. What do the people need to be doing to be really speaking out and bringing awareness so that there is a change?
I think just noticing what's missing. Recognizing who's not in the room when you get there and saying, why aren't they in the room? Hey, let me tell her about this. Let me tell them about this. Let me tell you about this, because why didn't you invite them, but you invited me? Those are the type of things that I feel like in most situations of civil rights and liberties is just recognizing whose aren't being respected, whose aren't being seen, who's not there when you get there. If you get to the top and you're the only one there, you're not really at the top. You should be there to pull somebody else up. So it's really that, and recognizing that this thing encompasses, I tell people, infertility is bigger than babies.
Yeah.
It's so much bigger than babies. It is my mental health. It is my financial health. It is my relationships. It is my interpersonal communication. It is my family legacy. It is my race. It is my culture. It is all of these things encompassed. So if I'm fighting for all of these things, I can't just be doing it for me. It has to be for everybody, because everybody deserves to matter, because just off of the fact that they exist, they should be worth something because they exist. And if I am not fighting for them to be there, if I am not at least acknowledging their absence, then I'm a part of the gatekeeping. I'm a part of what's keeping them out because I'm choosing to ignore that they're not even there.
Yeah. And storytelling is how it gets done. Sunshine and I went to a conference recently, and the biggest takeaway I, as a surrogate myself, couldn't imagine not being a mom. And so that was why I entered into the world of surrogacy in the first place. And granted, this was 15 years ago. It wasn't as well known, right? So it was like a foreign language in a lot of ways.
A lot of stigma on that too.
Yeah. And entering into that. And then what I realized just in the time that we've been doing this in the years is that it's stories. It's telling our testimony, explaining the why somebody might be crazy and bold to step into the world of surrogacy, or somebody who has courage to share their infertility story, which is probably even harder, because then there's that feeling of, well, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you, my friend. There's 7 other people who are also feeling this. It just nobody has the courage to speak out and say, there's a problem, let's fix it and figure out how do we get to that next step. So I am so impressed with you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I've been impressed with you guys too. I was just looking at what you guys do, and I think the biggest thing, like you said, about the journeys of surrogacy is it is a journey. And for people, one, to come to the acceptance that is a path that they're going to take. It does take courage and bravery. And then you now have to compound all of the original stigmatized questions that people were already giving you or you were feeling on yourself. And now you got to add it to the dumb questions of like, well, is it going to be your baby or is it their baby? And are they going to miss the other mom or are you the... Shut up.
Yes, please.
I could never give my baby away.
Never. It's not my baby. So guess what? Neither would I. What do you mean?
Yeah, but a lot of people do make the decision too to give children up for adoption, and that's also
okay too.
That's not wrong either.
I've been trying to get people to change the words they use with that, because they're always like, "Give baby away." Nobody gives a baby away. They place a child that they love into care because they love them so much.
Yeah.
They want them to have.
Yeah.
It's just the things that people's
It's
assumptions.
crazy. I know.
Yeah.
I know.
It takes effort to think of the right words and to think about the impact of the words that you're going to say. And it's easy to be lazy, and I'm guilty of it all the time of just
me too.
I don't want to think about how this is going to land. I just want to spit out what I'm trying to say.
I want to say. Yeah.
And then sometimes you see the response and you're like, oh, that did not land the way that I wanted it to.
Same.
I need to be more careful.
Okay, so I have to know the Mosaic Ball. Please tell us about that.
Yes, we want to know everything.
So the Mosaic Ball was so cool. My goal is that it becomes something that we do every year. My vision is that it become basically the Met Gala of infertility. I actually just posted something today. The bigger events, sometimes I go or I hear about them and it's like there's a lot of clinics and physicians there, but patients can't afford to be there. I would love it if the Mosaic Ball becomes where everybody can be in the room. But also it's where you get to celebrate. You get to see all the beautiful things and how all of our stories make this beautiful mosaic. My biggest goal, too, was to make sure that it was in Chicago. A lot of times there's not anything happening here. And it was also held on the south side of Chicago, down the street from Barack and Michelle's old house.
Okay.
And it was important to me that it take place in my city and on the south side because there's nothing fertility related that gets done like that on our side of town. And I wanted, if there were going to be clinicians or organizations in the building, I wanted them to have to come to my side of town. I wanted them to have to see, this is where we live. We got money too. We get dressed up too. We do the things too. And it was a beautiful view of our skyline. I don't know if you've heard, but Chicago skyline is like, and so it was just a really wonderful opportunity for me to not only, showcase my city, celebrate the 16th anniversary of the Broken Brown Egg.
Wow.
But also to celebrate some really great people who've done a lot of work in this space. So we were able to give an award to the Minority White Coat Foundation, which is an organization here in Chicago that gives scholarships and mentorships to people of color who are pursuing medical fields of study. We gave an award to Davina Fankhauser, who's the founder or the co-founder of Fertility Within Reach, who helps people with so many legislative things in terms of fertility and insurance coverage, and also has a great program called Banking on the Future for pediatric cancer patients to be able to preserve their fertility. We gave an award to the Cade Foundation and their reproductive justice series that they've been doing, and also to Fertility for Color Girls founder, Reverend Stacey Edwards Dunn. So it was wonderful. We had 4 or 5 Black reproductive doctors in the space, which meant that we had the top 4% of all, because there's not that many Black fertility specialists. So we had like a good chunk of all of the Black reproductive specialists that there are. And Dr. Michael Thomas, who is a Black reproductive specialist from the Chicago area, who has also been the president of the American Society for Reproductive Medicine, was our keynote. So it was really beautiful and fun, but also I'm always thinking about the advocacy side. And so while I was enjoying the gravitas of that, I was also just enjoying seeing patients talking to physicians, talking to scientists, talking to teenagers, talking to my mom, talking to my cousins, and just that intermingling of the journeys, to the point that even you never know who this has affected. Our caterer, for that night was like, I love what you're doing. My sister had ovarian cancer. This is important to me. The people who were working in the space were like, oh, I love this. I adopted my son. So what do we need? Can we throw in anything extra? But the most special parts to me were two things. One, my niece, who is 18, brought her one of her best friends, and they helped that night. Two of my nieces, they were working in the space. But when she came in with her friend was like, oh, that's your aunt who does the thing about the periods and stuff.
Oh.
And I was like, she talks about what I do to her friends. And she tells me, like, I told so-and-so she needs to call you because her period was giving her a hard time and she couldn't even come to school. And I told her she should call my auntie. That was like, that meant the world.
Because these girls are talking about it.
Because they're talking
you're
about
inspiring them.
And I was just like, oh, I just love that. And then the other one was my sister. My sister and I are 9.5 years apart. So her crew is younger than me, but they all came with her and had a table. And when they were leaving, one of her friends said, you know what? I think I am going to look into what I can do because I had just decided that I just couldn't have kids, but maybe I should ask.
Wow.
And like those two moments, like bigger than every award that was given, bigger than the beautiful dresses and all that stuff. It was those two moments I was like
goosebumps.
Yeah.
It's not very often you get to see the ripple effects of what you do. You know they're happening, but when you get to see them, it's such a gift. That's so cool.
It was really cool.
Because those are the ones that you see.
Yes.
There's so many that you don't see.
Yeah.
So you know you're making an impact, and that's really cool.
And generationally, like that's two different generations for me.
Yeah.
And above me, like my aunt and my cousins have talked. And they're each other's contemporaries. And they've talked about how just in our family, they had endometriosis and things like that, and they never talked about it. And now that they're, either coming out of menopause or going into it, they're like sending me messages like the your big cousins, the one that are older than you, that you're kind of like, you think they're so cool. They're the ones that could drive and all that kind of stuff. They're the ones that are like reaching out to me now and are like saying, thank you for talking about this. Our family should do more with this. And what can I do to help you? And that means so much, like the generational, like it's healing generational traumas and in live action.
Yeah.
And that feels cool.
Yeah, you should be so proud of yourself. I mean, that is inspiring just even hearing what you're doing. And
thank you.
Because there's so much work. There's so much work to be done. It's really easy to just get discouraged and say, forget it. It's not going to ever change. This is the way it is. This is the way it's always been. It's too big for me. I can't fix it. I give up. I just surrender.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage and commitment to be like, you know what? I can't solve it. I can't fix it, but I can.
But let me tell you what I'm going to tell you.
Yeah,
I can make a difference. I can, and maybe in your lifetime, we won't get to see solutions for it because there's so much
it's a huge,
in medicine.
There's so much
endometriosis, PCOS, all these things that we don't understand why there hasn't been enough research. There haven't been enough resources and energy put into solving these problems because they're women's problems and who cares?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that there will be solutions for our grandkids.
So excited and hopeful for it.
Yeah.
I'm so excited and hopeful for it. That's one of the things I admit readily, like one of the things that has also become a big tenet of the Broken Brown Egg is the overlap of our mental health and where that falls into our reproductive health. All of these pathways come with an immense mental load. You're like redefining who you are. You're grieving. You're happy. You're sad. You're making friends, you're losing friends, you got survivor's guilt, it's a lot. And the mental part, the anxiety of it has been so heavy on me for so many years. Like I fully believe that there's PTSD that comes from this space. That it just is, because it is a traumatic experience. Everything you knew about your body or your health, it changes. And so that mental health capacity I'm often like telling myself like, oh, I'm not doing enough. I didn't do this. I should have did that. I'm late with that, or oh, I didn't post today or whatever. And I've had to remind myself that like whenever I post or whatever I do, it's for that person that day. Somebody needed it that day. And I've been also really blessed to remind myself and have people around me who remind me that like sometimes that is the advocacy, is saying this sucks. And having somebody that can say that and not make you feel bad or guilty for how you feel, and not telling you, well, you should be grateful because you already, and it could be so much worse if you would just think about it from the
Look
perspective
on
of,
the bright side.
yeah. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah.
Shut up. That's good for you. And maybe I'll get to that
Maybe I'll be
later.
there tomorrow, but
Yeah.
right now,
No, I'm
Maybe
not
I'll
there.
get to that later. But if you don't show me the compassion that I need right now, I
Yeah.
really ain't gonna get there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be like, you know what, fuck this and you.
Yep. Exactly.
In that order. But if you would at least acknowledge how I'm feeling, then I can work on the solutions. But I can't get out of this hole until I at least say, I'm in a hole. Until I at least acknowledge, like, oh, I don't like this.
I don't like being in a hole.
I don't like this stupid ass hole. I'm getting out of here. Like, you got to give me that first.
Yep.
And
Because we do.
sometimes
We come around.
Yeah,
We do.
we do. I come back. But at first, I gotta kiss somebody out. Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm also like, when I'm down like that, it is very easy to feel like, everything is too insurmountable. I can't do anything about this. But what I've learned is the hope that I have is that when you're that low, there's nowhere to go but up. Like I am going to either cuss somebody out and feel better, or I'm going to cuss somebody out and they'll learn a lesson. But somebody might get cussed out. That's okay. Like I've had to really like remind myself, like, that there's benefits to your anger. Your anger gives you sometimes the fuel. Broken brown egg wouldn't exist if I didn't just get pissed off one day and be like, okay, now y'all got to quit playing with me. Are you for real? Are you for real? Is this what we're doing for real? Like for real, for real? No. No, you got me messed up. No. Like I've had to speak up for myself from a place of anger. And so I know how much anger it's passion.
It is passion.
It's passion.
It is so much passion.
It's righteous indignation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tell us about Make If Make Sense and what that is and how it came to be. And
do I have one with me here today?
I would love to see
I have it at work with me. Oh, you're in luck. I have my coloring book with me.
I think I also want one too. How do we get one? You're going to have to tell us that as well.
There it is. It is on reginatownsend.com and also on the Broken Brown Egg. Make If Make Sense is part memoir. So it's my journey, but it's also like a lot of the history that I share with you guys today. I put it in here as well because I felt like I've learned these things. And I need to be able to make sure that other people know that this is where this stems from and why this is important, and how race is interwoven through this infertility journey. Because when I first started the Broken Brown Egg, I did get a lot of people that were like, well, why does it have to be the Broken Brown Egg? And why infertility is hard on everybody? And like, I hear what you're saying, but also doesn't that that just doesn't seem... something's off about that. And I was like, yeah, but also no.
Yeah, it's exactly what it needs to be.
Yes, because it needs to be something different because our experience is different. Not better, not worse, just
and the
different.
history that contributed to making medicine what it is for women of color is different.
Yeah, and we have to acknowledge it. The only way for us to move past it, if that's the goal, is to acknowledge it. Otherwise, you're dismissing an entire portion of my history and my culture and saying that I shouldn't care about it because it's not important anymore.
Yeah.
And so...
No, thank you.
Yeah. So this has been like, it was in my head for a while. And honestly, I was trying to come up, I thought I was going to make a journal or a planner. And then I started working on it and I was like, oh, I'm going to just publish it. And so like I did most of it in Canva.
Okay.
And bought my ISBN numbers. And ironically, the funny thing is my undergraduate degree is in writing. It's in fiction writing. And I, for years, was like, I got that whole degree and I never wrote a book.
Nope, not anymore.
I wrote a book. And it's also got little quirky things in it too, like little notes from me, little notes, like notes for your partners and your parents, notes for clergy and spiritual advisors, little notes to say, hey, you can go get you some wine, girl, if you want to, because this does suck. And then little places for journaling and stuff like that. And even things like there's games in the back, there's waiting room bingo, appointment info sheet so you can write down like, how did this appointment make me feel? So lots of little stuff in the back too to kind of make it fun. So I wrote what I wish I had had.
Okay, I need it. I want to read it.
And it's interactive, which is cool.
Yes. So I did Make It Make Sense. And then this month I just published Peace, Patience, and Petty. And that's my coloring book.
Okay.
So it's that little infertility and reproductive health supports in there as well. So like the little broken brown egg chick is in there.
She's so cute.
Color. Isn't she cute?
She's so cute. I want all of these things.
So it's just been like little fun things that I want to say, but I was like, I'd like to color that. Like breaking news, reproductive health is health.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So like providing people with the tools that I wish that I had has been like the next phase for what I see for myself in this space, and what I see for this community is so massive that sometimes I can't contain it.
So good.
Because I want so much for us, because everybody's story is so special, and so just reading our grant applications, sometimes I have to like walk away because it's like everybody's heart is, whew.
So you do issue grants for, and how does that work? How does how do you raise money for it if people want to contribute? And how do you choose your recipients?
It's hard. But yes, we do the Awareness, Hope, and Activism grant, the AHA grant, because we believe everybody deserves their AHA moment. And it is right now, the past 3 have been sponsored by Progeny, which is a fertility benefits company. But people can always donate on the Broken Brown Egg website. We've also had people, you know how Facebook lets you choose a charity to support for your birthday. So like we have people who do that. And sometimes I'll just get a check and it'll be like, this person chose you as your as their company's match program. And I'm always honored when that happens too, or they'll do a donation in honor of someone else. And that's really sweet. We did 2 grants last year in the spring and in the fall. This year we just did one in the spring. We actually awarded a grant to our first Asian American Pacific Islander family. And we don't restrict who applies. Anybody can apply. We have a group of volunteers that help us go through all the applications to make sure that they have everything that was requested. We have doctors that we reach out to if there's a medical question and we're like, you know, does this seem like the best route for them? Is there somebody we should refer them to instead? Because my big thing is also, I don't want to leave anybody with like half of an answer. So it's like, if we look at something and we're like, this seems like maybe I know who they should reach out to. Let me connect her with this person and see what they have. And we also, what I'm hoping that we can start to do more of is micro grants, where sometimes physicians have reached out to me and they're like, I have this patient and she's like $1,500 short. Is there anything that Broken Brown Egg has? And I'm like, if I got it, I send it. So when we do the big grant, it's also been in partnership with Faring Pharmaceuticals and Alto Pharmacy, and they have graciously donated the medication and a patient navigator And Progeny gives a patient navigator that like is a nurse you can call at any time and ask questions. I tell them if they receive the grant that they're part of the Broken Brown Egg family. They can text me. They can ask me stuff. They can tell me this sucks, whatever it is. I'm cool with that. And it's been just really wonderful for me to feel like we're able to give something back. Because sometimes people they just need that little bit of help. And so it's $10,000 grant that we've been able to give out. And so we're hopeful to see.
Big. That's big.
That's really
it's big.
Huge. Yeah. Makes a big difference for people. Yeah. And it's made a big difference for my volunteers too, because them reading the grant applications is also a form of advocacy. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I tell people is telling your story by, submitting it for this grant. Sometimes that's the catharticism that's what you need, is to just be able to just say it out loud. And so people who read our grants for us, some of our volunteers, are not in this space. And when they read it, it's like,
yeah.
Then
they're no
heavy.
Yeah. Now they're like, oh my God, I had no idea.
How do we do more? What do we do?
Exactly.
What can we do?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's another extension of our advocacy is our grant and the process of the grant. And the numbers of applicants help me to tell these stakeholders, hey, you think Black people don't experience this, or you think we're not trying, or you think there's any other. Here's 97 applications that say otherwise. Mm-hmm. What you bringing to the table?
Yeah. Now what?
Yeah.
Now what?
Yes.
Now
yes.
what? Yeah.
Put your money where your mouth is, kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
I hate to bright side you, but it is it's pretty wonderful that you have the skill of being a librarian, being a storyteller, being somebody who has that natural gift or that passion that you've honed, that you also happen to struggle with infertility is just a gift to the infertility community, because you're taking those skills and that voice and making such a big impact. Whereas maybe if you didn't struggle with infertility,
ooh, that's heavy.
No,
this
real talk.
voice wouldn't happen.
Yeah. Real talk. I've worked through that myself with a lot of things of like, my faith is very important to me, and I do look at some things like, okay, Lord, you didn't have to do all that. You could have just told me. You really could have just sent me a note or something. You didn't have to do all of that. But
he said, but
learned,
yes, maybe I did.
He was like, actually, though, you hard headed, so I did have to do it this way. But I've really tried to look at it now, like the things that I bring to my library world, the things as a parent, the things that I notice in Judah when I'm at his school, or that I notice about other parents.
Regina, looking ahead, what's next? What do you see on the horizon?
My biggest goal, and I just to like put it out there, I put it on the Broken Brown Eggs website, even though I don't know when, be it 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever. But my biggest goal for the Broken Brown Egg would be to open an actual clinic on the south side of Chicago that offers rest. Not even just the fertility treatment. Sometimes, having grown up on this side of town, and people have their thoughts about Chicago. It's a beautiful city, but it is very segregated. And I know the people I grew up around and just had the wealth of knowledge and awesomeness. And I also know that there are places where it's violent and it is dangerous. And so when I think about what I would want in a clinic, what I want to create is a space where you can just kind of come in and just be still for a minute and think. Because that sometimes is enough for you to be able to make a plan of what you want to do. And so my goal is to create a space where that's what people can do, is that they come in and they can rest and they can think and they can breathe. And then when they make a plan, there's someone there that can say, yes, like they can say, oh, so you want to do better with your finances. let's talk to this financial counselor. Oh, you want to do something with your reproductive health? Let's talk to these nursing students. Oh, you want to, like, that's my goal. That's my big goal.
Wow.
Is to build a clinic on where I come from that gives back in that way.
First of all, wow. And
That
also, I
is
need
really
more to do
big.
with my life. I feel like I'm doing a whole lot of nothing when I hear all of these things that you have going on.
But thank you so much for spending this time with us and for sharing with us all of this journey. Is there anything in closing before because I know we're coming up to our time, just a piece of advice that you'd want to give to anyone who is feeling alone in their fertility struggles, wherever they're at? What's the advice?
I think the biggest piece of advice that I've gained over all of this is that your story matters. When I first was like looking at blogs and things before I ever started my own, I would go to people's website and they would have like next to their name would be like their bio, but their bio was all of their fertility acronyms. So it would be like 1FT with 3 W, and I'd be like, oh,
What does this even mean?
So she's done all those transfers, and she's done surrogacy once, and she did egg freezing, and she's actually applied herself. She deserves this. And I would kind of like take myself out. Your story matters. Even if you only needed 1 dose of, fertility medication, even if Clomid was your friend for like 2 days and all of a sudden you're pregnant, even if you actually did adopt and then get pregnant, even if whatever it is that is your story, it matters because it is your story.
Yeah.
It just matters because it is your story. And that is because you matter. You matter. And so whatever your story is, it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. You don't have to play the pain Olympics with anybody and figure out who had it worse for it to mean anything like that. That should not be the goal. Like, that should not be the goal. I don't want any of us to suffer. So why am I playing the who did it, who went down? No. How do we rise up and how do we help each other? So the idea that your story matters just for the sake that it's your story is the biggest takeaway that I have.
I think it's so good. It's beautiful. Thank you for
sharing your stories and helping other people to share theirs. And I'm really excited to follow everything that you guys do next. And maybe we'll get to attend one of these Mosaic Balls.
Oh my
gosh,
attend,
please do. We're already working on next year.
Let us know, Regina, please.
Oh my God, it's going to be so fun.
Following you on Insta, even though I'm not an Insta person, so trust me, I'm a little slow to it, but I've got a few followers, like 15.
I mean, that's killing it.
Stop bragging, Casey.
15 is good. It's better than 0.
Gosh. So thank you so much. And we would love an invite if that was something that was possible.
Absolutely.
We would love to be able to come in and participate. And then I could hug you in person because you look like you give really great hugs.
And then we can hang out. And then I can show you my city. It'll be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to meet south side of Chicago.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's where the good food is.
I love good food. Well, thank you so much for spending this time with us, and good luck with everything.
Thanks.
And keep up the good work, man.
Thank you.
Bye.
Can't wait to see your clinic.